Retire in 10 years. Retire by 40. That's the dream. That's the goal. No one wants to work forever, right? Hey everybody, Ace here. When I was little, I dreamed of having lots of money. I dreamed of being able to buy whatever toy I wanted to play with, whatever video game I wanted to play, buy whatever food I wanted to eat, especially when my mom wouldn't bake me cookies and let me eat them. I dreamed of being able to go out there and buy some for myself. And as I got older, that dream turned into more of a personality. And in my college years, I focused on spending very little and saving as much as I possibly could while investing the very little that I had. And then when I started my career, that personality turned into more of a life goal: retire early. And it really happened when I was having conversations with some of my coworkers. These coworkers would be at the same company for 20, 25, even 30 years. And when I would be having the one-on-one conversations, just getting to know them, I'd always ask, so, is retirement in the picture since you've been here for 30 years? And they would say, no, not at all. I was absolutely baffled when they told me they wouldn't be able to retire and that they had to work at least 5 more years to be able to retire. Here's someone in their late 50s in a senior position making pretty good money, and at the bare minimum, they wouldn't be able to retire for 5 more years. That was a huge shock for me. That is when I really realized I did not want to be in the same boat. I did not want to be someone who was 59 years old and had to work another 5 years before I was able to retire. In this video, I'm going to walk you through how you can retire in 10 years. And then by the end of the video, I'm going to walk you through my strategy to retire by the time I'm 40, which is practically 10 years. I know, I'm getting old. The very first thing you need to do is establish what type of retirement you want to have. Do you want to be swimming in piles of money every single day, living a lavish lifestyle? Or do you just want to have enough money to cover your expenses so you can lift weights and play video games all day without having to worry about ever going to work again? Once you figure out what type of lifestyle you want to have in retirement, the second thing you need to figure out is how much money you're going to need to retire. And the third thing is, how much do you make? What is your current salary and how much of that can you save every single year? Figuring out those 3 things will tell you everything you need to know and determine if you can retire in 10 years. And really, there's only a few major things that you need to be able to retire early. And one of them is to keep your spending low. The lower that you can keep your spending, the easier it is to be able to retire. So speaking in general terms, if you want your money to last you your entire lifetime and you never have to worry about it running out whatsoever, you're going to need to spend a minimum of 3% or less of your portfolio value. So for instance, if you have $500,000 saved up, you're going to need to spend $15,000 or less. Or if you have $1 million saved up, you're going to need to spend $30,000 a year or less to make sure that money will last you forever. How much you spend is directly correlated with how much money you're going to need in retirement. Because for every $100 a month you spend, you're going to need roughly $40,000 invested in your retirement. And vice versa, for every $100 a month you spend less, you're going to need $40,000 less invested. So again, the less you spend, the less you're going to need in retirement, and then the easier it's going to be able to retire. The next factor is how much you're going to need to save. It doesn't matter if you're making $100,000 a year if you're spending 90% of your income. It's really all about your savings rate. Your savings rate is how much you saved per year versus how much you spent per year. So the more that you save and invest, the faster you can get to retirement. So now, in this point of the video, if you're thinking,
well, I have pretty low spending, but you haven't told me how much I need saved in retirement, Ace.
well, it comes down to pretty easy math, really. So let's figure you're only taking 3% of your portfolio per year and no more, so you can make that money last forever. You're going to take how much you spend times or multiply it by 33, and that's going to give you how much money you need in your retirement accounts to make your money last forever. Because we're figuring you're only going to be taking 3% of your entire portfolio every year to make sure that money lasts you for your lifetime. So if I'm someone who spends $35,000 a year, then I'm going to take that $35,000 and multiply it by 33. And that's going to give me $1,155,000. So I'm going to need $1,155,000 invested for me to be able to retire at that 3% withdrawal rate. So that means my retirement number is 1.1 million to be able to live off of $35,000 per year.
Taxes and fees may apply.
Now, if you're someone who wants to retire in 10 years, getting a higher paying job will be extremely beneficial to you. Because as I said earlier, it doesn't matter how much you make if you're spending most of it, and the more you save, the faster you can retire. But if you're capped out at $50,000 per year, it's going to be pretty hard for you to retire in 10 years because of the cap that you make. No amount of saving more, even if you're saving 100% of your paychecks, which isn't even possible, you still wouldn't be able to retire in 10 years. Unless your living expenses are zero. The more that you can get paid, the more money you can sack away, and the faster you can get to retirement. If you're making $50,000 and you have your spending capped at $25,000 a year, so let's say you're saving the other $25,000. So if you're spending $25,000 a year and saving the other $25,000, at that rate, it would take you 33 years to save enough money to retire. Remember that formula I talked about a little bit earlier in this video? You take that $25,000 times by 33, that means you need $825,000 invested to be able to retire. But if you can take that $50,000 you're making and get a raise to $75,000 and bank all of that extra money, you're saving $50,000 a year. That means you're literally cutting your 33 years till retirement in half to 16 years. So the more that you make and continue your savings rate, the faster you'll be able to retire. So as I said, it's very beneficial to keep your spending low, but also be able to make more money. Whether that be getting a raise, having some side hustles, generating additional income is gonna accelerate how fast you can retire. Now that you know the basics on how to retire in 10 years or less, I'm gonna tell you my strategy to how I'm gonna retire by 40, or in roughly 10 years. I know I'm getting old, you don't have to remind me. So the first thing is just analyzing all of my spending and figuring out, is this the lifestyle I want to live when I retire, or am I okay with tuning it back a little bit? Currently, I'm spending $48,000 a year, and I'm very comfortable in my lifestyle, which means to keep my current lifestyle, I'm gonna need $48,000 a year to be able to retire. Now, using that formula I listed earlier, taking my $48,000 in spending, timesing it by 33, I'm gonna need $1.5 million invested to be able to retire. But that's actually not the strategy I'm going after to be able to retire. I'm going after the passive income way of retirement. There are 3 different ways I plan on being able to obtain $48,000 a year in passive income. And the first way is through my dividend portfolio. This is having a portfolio of a handful of different stocks, each one paying a good dividend payout. With a variety of stocks I choose, I plan on needing roughly $544,000 invested to make $36,000 a year in dividends. Knowing that I'm going to be taxed on those dividends, I'm planning on making more than what I probably need to. Next is going after rental properties. Right now, my one rental property is averaging me $3,000 a year. So if I can keep that average with other rental properties, I would need 6 rental properties, each averaging $3,000 per year, and I would be making $18,000 per year in passive income off those rental properties. And the last method I'm going to utilize is trading options, selling covered calls and cash secured puts. There's a lot of education and a lot of things you need to know when trading options, and I am still learning about options myself. But currently, I am making a little bit of money off of selling cash secured puts and covered calls, so this is definitely something I feel comfortable about doing in the future. And I know I can scale this up to making at least $10,000 per year doing it. And also, this is probably something I plan on doing when I retire, is trading options and selling stocks, because that's just something I enjoy doing. I enjoy researching stocks, seeing what's gonna go up, what's going down, and trading them. So with those 3 different methods, having a dividend portfolio, owning some rental properties, and trading options, I plan on making roughly $64,000 per year. And the majority of that is gonna be passive income. Now, knowing that I'm going to be getting taxed on that $64,000 at probably a 24% tax rate, that means I should be rolling in around $48,300 after taxes. So my goal from here on out is to continue to grow my dividend portfolio, acquire more rental properties, and educate myself and learn more on trading some options. And as long as I can continue to do that, and I space my goals out so I'm hitting the right checkpoints every year, I should easily be able to retire by the time I'm 40. Or in 10 years. If you liked this video or learned anything, please just tap that thumbs up button for me. That'd greatly help me out. Subscribe for more content below and let me know how you're gonna plan on retiring in 10 years. And until then, I'll see you in the next video.